Albert Einstein describes mathematics by stating, "Pure mathematics is, in its way, the poetry of logical ideas." These ideas have been transformed by the theorists Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky that informed our field experience instruction. Lev Vygotsky had a theory in which mental processes exist between and among people in social learning settings. The social learning setting is something that we foster during our field experience frequently. After about a week in the field, my partner and I recognized that our students were very visual and active learners and needed the social interaction from peers to really understand the concept. With this realization, we took the opportunity in our guided practice to make learning into a game in which the students had to work together as a team to complete the task. Jean Piaget's constructivist theory was applied by students working together to build on prior knowledge and construct their learning with manipulatives. Once we created a social focus for our students, we were able to include the process standards, including problem solving, reasoning and proof, communications, connections, and representation. In our conversion lesson, students had the task to answer word problems while working together to get to the finish line in their game. Each student had the opportunity to solve the word problem, explain their reasoning, communicate to their partner, make connections about the patterns they saw in converting, and represent their findings. In this lesson, some students needed to refer back to the visual, which we provided to complete the task. For any lesson that we will create as a teacher, we will need an objective in order for the students to understand what is expected of them by the end of the lesson. This is an academic goal that the students work toward meeting more comprehensive learning standards. Because our students were visual and kinesthetic learners, we often encourage collaboration as a team to make our objective more purposeful. We also created formative and summative assessments to measure each objective. We assessed our students in the field to monitor and evaluate their progress, make constructive decisions for reteaching, and to evaluate their achievement. During our field experience, we had to find a form of assessment that was both efficient and considerate of the small amount of time that we had to instruct our students. Our group struggled with many concepts of mathematics due to previous misconceptions. Oftentimes, my partner and I needed to make instructional decisions to reteach certain features of the lesson in a way that best made sense to the student. This experience allowed me to understand how to meet the needs of each student and to plan accordingly in my lesson plans to adapt to the learning styles of my students as well. My philosophy of teaching is to meet the needs of my students academically, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. My field experience allowed me to apply my beliefs and truly form a relationship with our group. In my future practice, I know that I will have a bigger variety of students. This is where I will need to adapt to the needs of my students and reflect on how I instructed and communicated the information. Because my students were very active learners, I applied the sociocultural theory consistently in my lesson planning to ensure that the needs of my students were met. Overall, I learned to consistently adapt to my students, be flexible in my lesson, and most importantly, how to make my lessons engaging and interesting. I also learned more about myself. Discovering my constant reflective tendencies has allowed me to locate my line of thinking and push forward past the obstacles in my teaching. This experience was surely one that I will never forget.